guys, how's it going? I'm Sydney from PhoneDog.com, and a couple of you guys noticed in the last video that I did of the unboxing of the Samsung Smiley that there is a myTouch 3G slide case in the background, and I explained kind of at the end of that video what exactly I was going to be doing, and it is a dogfight between the myTouch 3G slide and the Motorola Droid. These are two pretty popular Android smartphones with physical keyboards. Now granted, there are a couple of other smartphones out there, or Android smartphones with physical keyboards, but these two seem to be the most popular. So we're going to put them head to head and see how they perform. In the end, you know, which one comes out the winner, that's kind of up to you guys, but at least you'll get to see how they perform whenever they're right next to each other. So it's a dogfight done phone dog style. I'm Sydney from PhoneDog.com, and let's go check it out. Okay, so here they are, the myTouch slide on the right and the Motorola Droid on the left. And of course, obviously, there are a couple other Android phones with physical keyboards. You could probably add in here the LG Ally, probably the Xperia X10 Mini. Of course, there's the back flip and the Samsung Moment, but these are the two of the most popular ones. The back flip, the click, they're a little more sort of for a certain niche, I guess you could say. The G1 was kind of, you could say that the myTouch is sort of the spiritual successor to the G1. So we're going to compare these two, and of course you also have the Droid 2 coming out, or maybe the Motorola Calgary, but we're not really sure about release dates on that yet. So we're just going to compare these two, and since they're pretty much similar, both running Android 2.1, the major difference as far as UI and OS goes, well, they use the same OS, but the myTouch 3G slide has HTC Sense over it. So it uses Android 2.1, but it has the Sense UI laying over it, whereas the Motorola Droid is just stock Android with no Sense UI or any other UI. Now obviously, I'm not going to get into different ROMs that you could, custom ROMs that you could port over to them. We're just going to talk about stock out of the box and compare those features. So physically, they're pretty much the same. They both have physical keyboards. Obviously, one reason why we're comparing them. But as far as weight, let me see. The Droid weighs about 6 ounces. The Droid weighs about 6 ounces, and the myTouch weighs about the same. It's about 5.8 ounces. So, as far as weight goes, they're pretty much similar. I believe the Droid is a little bit taller. You can see just slightly, line it up there so you can see it's just slightly taller. Maybe the myTouch might be a little bit thicker. Let me see measurements. The myTouch is about 0.6 inches thick, and the Droid is 0.5 inches thick. So the Droid is a little bit thinner than the myTouch, and then it's a little bit taller. The Droid does have this little, I don't know, it's not a chin, but it's just this thing that kind of sticks out underneath this top layer. That's partly, I guess, because the keyboard, it gives a little bit more space. I'm not really sure what the reason for that is. Something that I never really understood, and personally I don't like as far as design features go, but it does have that little chin that juts out there, whereas the myTouch has a little bit of a curve, not quite as steep as the original G1 did, but does have that curve. And then obviously also the screen is bigger on the Droid compared to the myTouch. The myTouch 3G slide screen is it's a 3.4 inch screen, and the Droid has a 3.7 inch screen. So the Droid screen is definitely bigger, and in terms of resolution and screen quality, they're both just basic. The myTouch has an HVGA screen, the Droid has a WVGA screen, and then the resolution, the Droid screen has a resolution of 480 by 854, and then the myTouch has a resolution of 320 by 480. So Droid's resolution is definitely better, and also is a bigger screen. Screen technology is a little bit different, but even though the Droid by numbers has a better resolution, I noticed that the myTouch, the colors on the screen just seem to pop a little bit more. They're brighter, they're crisper. Bright colors just show up better, whereas the Droid, the colors seem to be a bit flat. And you'll notice that when I go into the pictures, I took a couple of pictures to compare, but the Droid, it seems to show up basic, standard colors a little bit better in terms of just the greens and the blues, the basic colors like that. But as far as the bright colors, the myTouch, I think to me shows up a little bit better, and you can see that right now whenever just comparing home screen to home screen. So let me take you into the gallery and we'll compare a couple of pictures. So we'll go to the gallery. You can see here part of the myTouch Sense UI, and also it's a custom UI, so it's not just Sense. You'll notice this is going to be a little bit different than the typical Sense that you've seen, because it's more custom as well. But we'll go here to the gallery on both phones. And so you'll also see the difference in styles of gallery. So this just uses Android's stock gallery, and then we have a little bit more of a custom gallery here. So let me go to some camera shots. I took, first of all, you'll see this is just a picture of grass. And so first, just to compare these two pictures, taken on the same day with the same lighting conditions, the sun was the same. And you can see that the Droid, it shows the green a little bit better than the myTouch does. So you know, when we zoom in there and it's just grass, you can see on the Droid it's definitely greener, whereas on the myTouch it's kind of a little more white, a little more faded, doesn't quite pop as much, which is what I was saying, you know, that basic colors seem to show up better on the Droid compared to the myTouch slide. Now when we get into brighter colors, you'll see that it's a little bit different. The myTouch seems to show brighter colors a little bit better. So we'll go back to here and let me see if I can pick. So again, here's a picture of the same flower, same day, same lighting conditions. And the myTouch, the colors pop definitely a lot more, whereas on the Droid, a little bit more flat, kind of shows a little bit darker, but also it seems to look like a better picture, even though the colors don't show up quite as well. So one thing that you'll notice here is that the Droid seems to focus better. It seemed to just take a better picture. Of course, they both have autofocus, and the camera is 5 megapixels on both. And so, but the Droid just seemed to take a better picture in terms of focusing, clarity, just getting everything, getting all of the elements right to take a good picture. Now, the myTouch, yeah, the colors do look better. Let me get the screen unlocked. The colors do look better, but it's not quite as picture perfect as the Droid is. And obviously I got a little bit of the ground there, so that kind of takes away from the artistic aspect of the picture. But still, you know, even though the colors look better on the myTouch, the Droid seemed to take a better picture. The myTouch comes out of the box with 5 home screens. You can expand it to 7 home screens. If you do, then you can't put it back to 5 unless you do a soft reset, which to me isn't a big deal. But you can either have 5 home screens or 7 home screens, whereas on the Droid you can have 3 only. To me, I think having 7 or 5 home screens is a definite plus. Now, talking a little bit about Sense, we'll talk about a few features that the myTouch has that the Droid doesn't have, because it does come with Sense. First of all, you'll notice the famous weather widget that comes with every Sense UI. You can have it with the clock, or you can have the basic widget that shows full screen the weather. This is a pretty popular feature that everyone likes, and so we'll go to weather and we'll choose full screen. You can see here you have different choices. You can choose just to have a smaller widget and or an even smaller widget. So we'll go back and you can see here the full page weather widget looks pretty nice, and of course you can delete it. So that's one thing that comes with Sense that you won't get with the Droid. Also, you're going to have a few other custom widgets, for example calendar and clock. Of course, Android comes with its own stock analog clock and calendar, but you also get the Sense calendar, which is a little bit different, and also the Sense analog clock, which gives you a few different choices in terms of style. There's some pretty cool ones in here too. That's the one I'm currently using. It's the one you'll usually see on a phone that comes with Sense, but you can also have just a basic digital clock. Then they have some other pretty cool designs here. You can see that one's actually pretty cool. I like it. So you can see Sense just kind of adds a little bit more styling and design to it. We'll take a look at a couple more custom widgets that you get with Sense. Also, you get Front Stream and Latitude. Those are a couple of things. Front Stream is a T-Mobile feature, and then you've got Music, the Sense Music widget, Photo Frame, Stocks. And then, of course, you get the Twitter widget, which I think is actually something that's very useful if you use Twitter, because a lot of times, if you want to have a full-page Twitter widget that shows your stream, right there from the home page, it's something that you'll have to buy the full version of that particular app. So if it were Droid or Twitter, the app, then you'd have to buy the full app, whereas the free ones, they don't have that feature. But because Sense comes with this, or the myTouch comes with this Twitter widget right on the phone, you don't have to pay for it. You can just have it right there. I have the small version right now, but you can also have a full page widget that shows your stream. So that's one thing, that you get a lot of features with Sense that you don't get with stock Android. It's pretty much just, it's pretty much just basic widgets and whatever you download.